The Kansas City Royals, for the second year in a row, are going back to the World Series. The 2014 and the 2015 American League champion, Kansas City Royals. That's freaking tough to do. Game 1 of this season, when the Kansas City Royals were at home, lifting the 2014 American League champion flag up the flagpole, they marched the team out there, and they all looked at the 2014 American League flag get freaking raised up. It pumped up the crowd, and it pumped up the team. And this is game 1, home opener against the White Sox. And the Royals came out and they kicked the White Sox ass. And emphasis on man throughout the whole entire freaking locker room. In every interview, all the players said, we want to get back to the World Series. Our goal is to get back to the World Series. Now, that was game 1. And I know every team, when they play in the major leagues, their goal is to go to the World Series. But game 1 in the regular season out of 162, the Royals' motto, the Royals' creed was, we're going back to the World Series. And I know they said that in February and March in Surprise, Arizona. They said, we're going back to the World Series. But it was just evident. You could feel the vibe in the stadium, game 1. And in my opinion, it took home field advantage to get this done because the Blue Jays were freaking badass. They're a freaking awesome team. Make no mistake about it. Their stadium's badass. Their crowd's insane. The Royals had to get home field. And 3 weeks ago, when the Toronto Blue Jays lost that game against the Tampa Bay Rays on a Saturday night, when they were up 3-2 in the ninth inning, and that Tampa Bay Rays hitter hit a base hit to score the last 2 runs to win the game for Tampa Bay, the second to the last game of the season, it put the Royals back as the number 1 seed. And in my opinion, that was huge. I was watching that Tampa Bay Rays and Toronto Blue Jays game on my phone, and I thought, this is going to be freaking huge, man. This is huge that the freaking Blue Jays didn't sweep the Rays and get home field. Now, I wasn't looking past Houston or New York, whoever the Royals were going to play at that time. But I remember thinking, okay, we're the number 1 seed. If we play Toronto, we got them here. And that was huge because the Royals only took 2 out of 3 in Toronto. And to have Toronto here for 4 games, thank God we only had to play them 3. The Royals won them all. That was huge. Getting home field over the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, with that being said, wow, what about tonight's game? Oh my God, where do you start? Zobrist homer off Price. Moustakas homer that barely cleared the wall. Bautista was a one-man wrecking crew for the Blue Jays. Oh my God, he freaking brought him back. I think Madsen's got to get out of the 8th inning, man. This is the second time in a row that he nearly cost the Royals a freaking game. The Astros game where the Royals took a Herculean effort down 6-2, came back and won that game was because Madsen gave up 3 runs and made the deficit even harder for the Royals to come back, and we did. You know, let's get Hoach. Let's get Hochever back in the 8th inning. Can we get Duffy in the 8th inning? Go right, left, Herrera, Duffy, Davis. I mean, that's the only thing that's the only concern I have of going into the World Series is Ryan Madsen. He's on sometimes, but sometimes he's off, and when he's off, he gets rocked. And Bautista's the badass. He doesn't miss pitches. So let's look forward to the World Series. We're playing the New York Mets, a young freaking pitching staff that reminds me of the Kansas City Royals pitching staff 30 years ago, the last time the Royals won the World Series. These kids, DeGrom, I can't even pronounce their names, but you know when I see all 4 of the New York Mets pitchers, you know what I think of? I think of Brett Saberhagen, Mark Gubicza, Danny Jackson, and Bud Black. When the Royals won the World Series in 1985, they had 4 young starters that were all wet behind the ears, young kids that just wanted to go out there and just pitch. They were just like, hey, let's just go pitch and play. That's what the New York Mets starting pitching staff reminds me of the 1985 Kansas City Royals pitching staff. So it's going to be a challenge. We're 2-time American League champions. It's something to freaking be stoked about. And I'm freaking feeling good. Yeah! But let's not take these kids, this New York Mets pitching staff for granted. And they got that one guy who was smacking home runs, what, 6, 7 post games in a row? I need to do my homework on the Mets. All I know is the pitchers are young and they're badass. But you know what? Tonight, this weekend, for the next few days, I'm going to enjoy my Royals, baby. I'm going to enjoy my Royals, baby. Kansas City Royals. 2-time American League champions. How's that Zach Greinke trade looking now? Ha! The Royals traded Zach Greinke December of 2010 for some young shortstop named Alcides Escobar and some outfielder by the name of Lorenzo Cain. Looking pretty good. Zach Greinke staying home in the last 2 World Series. You know where the Royals are going? The Royals are going to the World Series, buddy! Ha! Until next time, we'll be breaking down the Chiefs Sunday night. Go Royals, baby!